At highway speeds, the average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. That's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about asking for help. That is something where a lot of times we have our ego get in the way, or we have pride, or we just want to do it ourselves. But sometimes, just sometimes, we need a helping hand. And don't look at asking for help as a sign of weakness or defeat, because sometimes somebody else will have different insights or a different way of looking at a situation, or perhaps somebody can do something that you physically can't or emotionally can't. So sometimes that extra help is needed, is required, so that you can live your life full out. We're also going to be taking your calls. Again, the number there is 800-333-0001, 800-333-0001. And coming up also in our next segment, we're going to have Chris Norton, who's going to tell a story that is just really honestly amazing. Amazing how the human body can heal in such ways that are so unexpected. I'm going to leave it with that and tell you more later on. But Chris's story is one that's not just inspiring, but truly shows the resilience that one can have when they put their mind to healing the body. And so that will be in our next segment. If you have any questions about today's call or show, we want to hear from you. The email address to reach out to us at is connect@livingfullout.com. And if you have a story that you think would be inspiring or very insightful to our audience, and you'd want to be one of our inspirational guests, we'd love to hear from you. Again, that email is connect@livingfullout.com. All of our shows, current shows, past shows, are all located on our website at livingfullout.com/radio show. So that is all the goodies I have for you in terms of keeping you up to date on where we are with the show and resources. But let's get back into the show of asking for help. You know, being legally blind, I oftentimes have to ask for help. It's just one of those things where I can't see everything. So it's oftentimes I will turn to somebody and say, what does this say? Sometimes it's just that easy. So we're going to go to the phone lines now because somebody is on the other line asking for help of us. So let's see what they have to say. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for calling in. What's going on today?
Not much. Yeah, I was just having a little problem at home. My father and I, we have some conflicting political ideologies, and I was looking for a way to discuss these issues in my house in a civil manner without causing too much discord in my family.
Gotcha. You know what? So here's the deal. Let me ask you a question. These other family members, do you have humor in your family, or is everybody really serious?
We're pretty serious in my house. There's not a lot of humor.
Okay.
It's pretty formal setting, yeah.
Pretty formal setting. Okay, because sometimes you can add humor in. Here's the thing. In a formal setting where individuals are serious, it's kind of like debating, but it's healthy debating. Okay? So the best way to debate is no situation is going to be extremely, extremely wrong unless there's like killing involved and that kind of thing. Obviously, that's not right in any form, right?
Obviously,
but let's just take political tones, for example. Somebody might be Republican, somebody might be Democrat.
Yeah.
No extreme is going to be 100% perfect. Okay? So just like in any negotiations, you have to understand the other person's point of view. People in life just want to be heard. Now, they can't go on like a rant and a speech and a lecture, right? But if you give them the ability to be heard, that's the first step. Okay, let me hear your point of view. Take it in. Take it, make 30 seconds, take in a minute, take in 5 minutes, whatever you can handle. But then say, you know what? I hear what you're saying, and what you want to do is you want to paraphrase back to them what they said, okay? Because that actually shows them that you were listening. Okay, so I hear that you ... Okay? Now, that's when you go into your stance, because you've already acknowledged that you heard them, you paraphrased it back, but now you're going to tell your part. Now, if they cut you off, you have to say, listen for a second. I heard you. I even paraphrased that I heard you. So you got to let me have a few minutes. It's that back and forth that will allow you to have a conversation about it. But the thing is, no one is ever going to see eye to eye. That's the beauty of us all being individual beings, right? We all have our own brain, our own emotions, our own philosophies. So it's just finding a way to have these healthy conversations. Is that what you're already doing, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. It's pretty helpful. Usually it's just sort of debate that we have.
Yeah,
that does seem like a good strategy.
Well, here's the thing. You just want to calm the waters down so it's not like a yelling match, and it's not like who's right, who's wrong. It's really important to incorporate that paraphrasing into the conversation, because, again, when the other person has been heard and you acknowledge that, there's nowhere for them to go in the argument, because it's not like you're not listening. Okay? Yeah. So go ahead and give that a try, and then, call back in. Let us know how it's going.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. What a great question, right? I mean, sometimes we want to ask for help, but do we really want to hear what the other person has to say? Maybe, maybe not. You got to pick your battles in life. Always remember that. But at the same time, embrace your individuality. So we're going to go back to the phone lines again. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you today?
No problem. I just had a quick question. I just wanted some advice. I have this dilemma going on right now. So I have gotten really close to one of my best friends, and I was just wondering if you had any ideas of how to show him that I maybe want more without ruining the friendship.
I love these questions. Secretly, I love them. And who hasn't been there, right? Who hasn't had a crush on that so-called friend? Here's the thing. Is he, or she, but is he looking for, does he talk about somebody else?
He does not.
Okay, that's a good sign. Check box. Okay, that's good. And this is good for all the people listening too. If that other person is interested in somebody else, you have to be their friend first and not come in between that. Remember my best friend's wedding with Julia Roberts? You don't want to do that, right? And there was a movie from a long time ago. But anyway, so if he isn't interested in someone else, that's a great sign. What I would do is I would honestly just kind of come out and say, you know what? I'm so amazed that you are not with anybody. It blows my mind. You're so great. And see what he says. He'll probably say, yes, I am, or no, I'm not. If he says, no, I'm not, that's an opportunity for you to come in, not in a sappy or overdoing it kind of way, but honestly, people like to be acknowledged for things they do well. So think about not just the attractive part, but what do they do well? What do you see that others don't see in him? And men especially like for people to be proud of them. That they feel like they're protectors, that they feel like they're doing a good job as a friend, as a son, as a father, whatever it may be. So the thing is I would look at those qualities in him, and at some point you kind of have to take the risk a little bit. So you have to say, you know what? The funny thing is, all these qualities in you are what I'm looking for. I was just wondering if you'd ever consider going on a date.
Oh, okay.
Just that easy. Now, when we take risk in life, we have to be ready for the answer. Right? Mm-hmm. The answer could be, it's funny. I've been thinking that too. Or the answer might be, you know what? You're fantastic, but as soon as you hear the but, it's not going to go so well. But you have to take the risk. And here's the thing. If he says, if that but comes along and the answer is no, then that's okay. Don't make it weird. Okay?
Yeah.
Are you friends with anybody that you've dated before? Maybe you dated at one time and you're still friends?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were able to date, you were able to take a risk in dating that person, going to an intimate place, in terms of romance, but then you were able to pull it back and still be friends. It's that same thing. It's just a little bit more intense because of that fear factor of what are they going to say. But what if he says, yeah? What would that feel like to you if he said yes?
It would feel pretty great.
Right?
Because
pretty awesome.
I know him as I'm on that deeper level, and then it would be just like an opportunity to get even closer to him. But yeah.
Absolutely. So the yes is an amazing, exciting option, right? But what if he says no? If he says no, will you still go on? Will your friendship still be good?
He's definitely the type of person that I would want as a friend 10 years down the line. So yeah.
So either way, you can't lose. That's the good thing. Okay? So I say you try it. I say you go out there, but not to say that you're going to warm him up or anything like that. But again, I would let him know about the qualities in him that you admire, and that those are qualities that you're looking for in somebody. And that's a nice segue to why you're asking him out. It's because of who you are that I'd like to see if you'd like to go on a date. Just that easy. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Well, let us know how it goes, but I'm excited for you. Woohoo. Exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in.
Thanks for the advice.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
You got it.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So there we go. Great questions, everybody. We're going to be taking more of your calls later in the show, and we're going to be coming back shortly with Chris Norton telling us about his very inspirational story of his recovery from an accident, and we'll be right back. And also, again, remember, we're about asking for help. Put a shame aside. You're not a burden. Just go for it. We'll be right back.
What's up? Thinking about you. XOXOXO. Want to snuggle. ... JK. Hit me back. You getting these texts? ? We should hang later. I miss you. Holla at ya, boy. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you at home? Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. Are you with your ex? You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hi, I can't come to the phone right now because I'm abusing my children. Not just verbally, but physically. I'll get back to you.
If only child abuse was this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call Child Help at 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit childhelp.org. We've helped millions of people help millions of children. All calls are anonymous and confidential, so call 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit childhelp.org. Child Help. Trust your instincts. Brought to you by Child Help and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
In the world of fairy tales, Sleeping Beauty had 3 good fairies to protect her. But in our world, protecting the beauty of the forest is the responsibility of everyone.
Listen well, all of you.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans and can be prevented.
We'll all pitch in. If humans can do it, so can we.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Log on to SmokeyBear.com to find out what you can do. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we are talking about asking for help. We've all hit that time in our life where we're out of answers, we're out of solutions, and quite frankly, we just need someone to tell us what to do. Has anybody felt that way? I know I have. Well, sometimes we have physical challenges. I know for me, being legally blind, I can't see everything, so I need to ask for help quite often. And even our next guest, Chris Norton, who was in an accident when playing football, he actually got paralyzed from the neck down. Now, talk about needing help. I can only imagine that journey, and he's going to take us on his walk to recovery, and today he's walking, believe it or not. How amazing. So I want to first of all welcome Chris Norton to the show. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I am good. Are you having a nice day?
I am. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. You know, Chris, you've been on a lot of different shows in the media, so your story has been out there. But, you know, one of the things that I think is just so amazing is your attitude along the way, your resilience. You're not gonna give up. You know, you are gonna walk again. So I wanna take our audience back to the day of the accident, if you can, just so we can kind of get a reference point of what happened. Can you share with us about that day?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a freshman in college at Luther College in Northeast Iowa. Went to school to play football, make some lifelong friends, get a great education. Halfway through the season, we're playing a team, and I was on the kickoff unit where I had to make a tackle on the ball carrier. So the ball was kicked. It was short into my side, and I made this a routine tackle for a long time, and just a freak accident when I dove to make the tackle. I mistimed my jump, and my head and my neck collided with the ball carrier's leg. And instantly, everything from the neck down was turned off. It was like the power to my body was gone. And I didn't feel anything. I couldn't move anything. Obviously, trainers came out, checked on me, and they stopped the game, and nothing was coming back. And eventually, they had to fly me out to Mayo Clinic in Minnesota to have emergency surgery. And I was told there that I had a 3% chance.
Of ever walking again?
Of ever moving anything below my neck or even feeling anything. So more than just walking, it was just to be able to feel or to move.
Well, I'm just curious, Chris, because, I mean, again, not everybody has experienced that. When you were on the field that day, were you in shock, or do you remember that moment? Do you remember not feeling anything, and what was your mind thinking?
Yeah, I remember everything like it was yesterday. I was completely conscious. My head was fine. I was thinking clearly, and I honestly thought nothing serious was going on. I thought within minutes I would get up and walk off and just kind of shake it off. My whole life I've never had anything really serious happen to me. Being 18 years old, you're kind of naive to think anything serious or bad could happen to you. And I just kept thinking, all right, it's a matter of time and I'll be okay. And I was calm. But then when they had to call in for a helicopter, that's when I knew that it was really serious. And at that point, I just closed my eyes to try to block out what was going on around me, and I just began to pray and I just hoped for the best. But that's when I got scared, was when they had called in for a helicopter.
Yeah. Did you feel pain, or just numbness, no pain?
I felt nothing. So it's kind of a defensive thing with your body, your spinal cord. You have to send those signals to register pain. And so I wasn't feeling or registering anything because everything was just cut off from my neck down.
Who eventually told you about the severity of your injury? Who shared that with you?
It was my surgeon before surgery. Once they did all of their testing and kind of knew as much as they could know at the point in time before actually operating on me. And so that was when I was told the news right before surgery. Another moment you'll never forget.
Mm-hmm. You know, again, it's one of those things where I think sometimes we take the liberties that we have for granted. Like, I'm legally blind, and boy, if I could see 20/20 now, I would never take it for granted. And I'm sure in that moment, you know, we walk around town freely, right? But what happens when you're injured? What happens when you face not having that? When you went to surgery and you came out, you know, obviously there's the recovery period, but what was your mindset then? I mean, obviously you didn't come right out of surgery with that resilience and focus, but did you go through depression?
I didn't go through depression, and I think that I attribute that to my faith, my family, my friends. I was always surrounded by positive people in a positive environment, and then just also my natural, it's kind of my own DNA. I've always been a happy-go-lucky, positive, forward-thinking person, and so that also helped me as well. And I always made incremental progress, too. So I always clung on to the bits and pieces of progress and hope. I never dwelled on what I had before. Because every time I dwelled on, you know, oh, man, I was an athlete. I was a college football player. You know, I could be doing so many different things right now. And that just got me thinking in the wrong direction, made me negative, made me pessimistic. But once I just focused on what I can do and looking forward to beating it, I was fired up, and I was always been in a good mood.
You know, I only laugh because I only laugh because I can see you being fired up, because, you know, it is one of those things where, you know, with that training as a football player and you know, even academically you were doing well, you know, it wasn't in your DNA to give up. And I think so many of us, we know that's inside us, but when an accident like this happens, it's, you know, how vibrant is that light? How much can we turn that up to really feed ourselves from that? Now, when you were when you got out of the hospital, and I guess this is where the real recovery occurs, you were completely paralyzed neck down, right?
So I was initially paralyzed from the neck down, and then within even that first day, I was able to shrug my left shoulder. It was just a little bit, and so that I kind of took that one shoulder shrug, and just little different parts of my body started to kind of wake up a little bit, just over the next few months. I was actually in the hospital for 4 months, and then I had a Ronald McDonald home next to the hospital for another 3 months. So I was pretty much in and out, or pretty much in the hospital for 7 months. But it was just a daily progression, and that's kind of what I just focused on, was getting a little bit better one day at a time.
What was the number one thing that was the hardest for you to ask for help with during that time, despite all that focus that you had?
Everything was really hard to ask for when you have so much independence and you have a certain way of doing things, and you appreciate those liberties and everything. But when you have to ask for a scratch, I have an itch on my face. I have to ask somebody to scratch it. To brush my teeth, to get food, to get a drink. I literally had to ask for everything, and that was really hard, having to be so demanding. And I felt demanding, or, you know, I felt high maintenance because I just needed help with every little thing. And it was just hard to ask for those things when you're used to doing it yourself. And so it was just kind of also in the beginning, kind of painful reminders of the things you lost. And so it was really tough.
Yeah, I bet. And I'm sure many people were happy to help you. I mean, most people are, but I can appreciate that feeling inside where you must have just felt like, ugh, can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? What, as you started to have your body, the feeling in your body come back again, what was one of your most proudest moments in terms of your recovery, in terms of what was starting to happen?
There's so many moments. One of the first things that kind of comes to mind maybe was the ability to get my hand to my face. And so that just gave me the freedom to, scratch that itch on my face if I had an itch, if I could balance some food on my hand, I could feed myself. It wasn't the cleanest thing to do, but I was able to start doing some little independent things that you kind of take for granted for. But I really appreciated to be able to somewhat feed myself and to scratch an itch and to just, you just feel more like yourself, I guess, when you can do more on your own. And so those are kind of the bigger things.
And isn't that amazing that through that experience, just being able to scratch your face, you were happy with, that you were proud of, right? That's an amazing thing to walk away from, to know that that is something that today you cherish so much, just that little simple gesture. And in terms of the next step of your recovery, obviously when you finally went home, at what stage were you in at that point in terms of recovery in your health?
Yes, by the time I got back to my home in Iowa, I was able to support my own weight standing. I was able to start taking some steps, but I still needed, one or two people. So the exciting thing is at this point you're starting to move. You're starting to even get yourself back more. So this is where I want to pause, right? Because we have to go to commercial break. But Chris, your story is really it's awesome, and so I want to everybody stay with us. We'll be coming right back with Chris Norton sharing more of his inspirational story. Again, this is the Living Full Out Show, and we'll be right back.
Necessities. The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the Food Pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hey, Jack, you got a sec?
Yeah, sure, come on in.
Yeah, I was wondering if you... Jack, your hair's on fire.
Yeah, I know. I just need to finish this sales report, and then I'll probably, let me lie down for a bit. But I'm sure it'll go away.
But the flames are getting bigger. Shouldn't I... Your hair, there's so much fire.
No, I'll be fine. What can I help you with? Oh, dear. Well, at least we know the sprinkler system works.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? If you or someone you know suddenly experiences numbness of the face, arm, or leg, or sudden trouble speaking, seeing, or walking, don't wait to get help. Call 911 right away, because time lost is brain lost. To find out more, visit www.strokeassociation.org or call 1-888-4STROKE. This message brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. This is the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about asking for help. And that's not easy. That sometimes is finding that very humble place inside us to be able to ask somebody, I need help. And help is one of those words I think people feel embarrassed about, but we shouldn't, because sometimes that assistance is what helps us to live full out in life, helps us to achieve those goals that we want to in life. We're in an interview right now with Chris Norton. He was sharing with us about his football injury and how that caused him actually to be paralyzed from the neck down, but that didn't stop Chris. He had determination and resilience, and actually he was just starting to tell us about when he started to stand for the first time. And so I kind of want to go ahead and pick up there. Welcome, Chris, back to the show.
Hi.
Hi. So that must have been pretty exciting to be finally out of the hospital. You're starting to get functions back. You're now able to scratch your face and feed yourself, and now to be able to stand. What, again, until you're in this position, we don't really understand what it feels like. What did your legs feel like during that time when you couldn't really walk easily? What was that feeling like for you?
Yeah, so my legs just kind of felt almost disconnected from my body, like they're not quite your legs because you don't have the full sensation, the full control over your legs. And so it kind of almost feels foreign. And it's hard to control, it's hard to activate, and sometimes no matter how hard you try, you can't get that signal to your leg to take the step that you want. But it just takes a lot of focus, a lot of mental training to really try to connect with your legs and to make them work.
What did you keep? What vision of yourself did you keep in your mind this whole time when you're like, I got to do this, I got to do this, all that determination? What visual image did you have for your future that kept you going?
I just envisioned my future of just being able to get around walking, to be independent, to be free from the wheelchair. And so I just always pictured myself walking and being on my own, doing everything for myself and independently. And that's kind of just been my vision, was to get to there.
And how long did it take you in terms of your recovery before you finally could walk again, before that connection started to come together for your legs?
Yeah, well, it's still a work in progress. It's still not as independent as I'd like it to be. It's been over almost 6 years, and I still train 4 hours a day on my walking and on my upper body movement. But I'm able to take steps, walk on a walker, walk with the help of one person. But I still kind of need some help. I kind of need some devices to really be able to get around. So I still use the wheelchair most of the time, but just still trying to get out of the wheelchair and be more independent with my walking. But it's just an everyday thing, I guess, to get to that point. It may be another 6 or 5 years until I get there, but I'm going to keep training and focusing on what I can control.
What is the difference between asking for help now versus back when you couldn't scratch your face, when you couldn't feed yourself? How have you grown as a person in your ability to get support from others?
Well, I've definitely gotten more comfortable with it. I feel not as much of a burden when I ask for help, and I've kind of come to more of a peace and come to a terms with it that, I need help with something. And that's just how things are, and I just try to focus on asking as nicely as I can and be polite. But, there's people that want to help you. There's people that are going to be there for you no matter what. And it's good to surround yourself with those kind of people that are going to be there for you. And I always have people around me that are willing to help, and it's a great feeling to have that kind of support system.
Mm-hmm. And for everybody listening, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Chris Norton, and he's sharing with us about his recovery in walking, and you're still in it, and which is actually what I'm most proud that you're with us today, because so many times people don't do interviews until they're fully recovered, they're fully healthy. You know what I mean? But I appreciate that you've taken us in this journey with you. You're in it. You're doing it each day. I mean, training 4 hours a day, I mean, that is commitment, and that's not easy. I'm just curious, though, for anybody listening today who just is uncomfortable with asking for help, like they're stuck in life because they just can't do it. They don't know. They don't want to be that burden. What advice would you have for them?
I would say that the world is full of great people. There's a lot of really good people out there. I really learned that being in the wheelchair is how many people want to help. Like, people want to be called upon. They want to be there for you. And so just know that you're not a burden. They want to help you. People love you. And I really realized that there's so many people out there that really want to help me, and they just want to be asked. And sometimes asking for help is the greatest relief, because they want to be there and they will be there for you. And because of it, you're able to, like you said, live full out and live to your full potential. And so I really realized that, because if I don't ask for help, then I'm not going to get where I want to be at. And sometimes it takes another person to help me to achieve the goals and the dreams that I have for myself, and I'm okay with that.
And I'm just curious, I mean, if you were to go back and never have that injury, and you lived out your football career in college and all was good, would you have gone that route, or would you have gone this route?
It's funny you ask that. I tell my audiences that all the time. I do professional speaking. I always tell them that if I go back and change a play, I wouldn't change it. I found such a greater purpose in my life because of my injury than I don't think I would have found if I hadn't got hurt. And so, now I'm doing professional speaking. I have a book. I have a nonprofit that we've raised over $500,000. There's so many different things that in my life that are so special and meaningful to me and to other people that became as a result of my injury. So I wouldn't take it back.
And I'm so glad that you brought up purpose, because we're not asking people to go out there and have an injury today. Not everyone can go through the injury stage. It's an accident, and the purposefulness came out of it. But for those people in our audience,
this is by helping other people. I was all about myself and with my recovery, and that wasn't as fulfilling until I started to help other people with spinal cord injuries, or helping other people who are struggling with their challenges that they're trying to overcome. And so by me being there for them really gave me a sense of purpose and a reason to really...
And here's another question I have for you. You obviously had a strong network of friends and family, and you had your faith. But some people, given a situation like you were in, or maybe they're dealing with financial stress, or they're struggling with a broken heart from a relationship that didn't work out, and they don't have that same network, and so they don't have that support system. What advice do you have for people in being able to ask for help when there's no one to ask? You're basically asking strangers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, just that there's a lot of good people out there. There really is. And I think when you can realize that there's other people who have your best interest for you, and that even if someone you're not really comfortable with or you don't know real well, I think just by opening up and sharing, I think you'll be able to connect with somebody else, because everybody has challenges. Everybody has obstacles. It's human. Some people, you can see it on the surface. Some people you can't. They bury it. But regardless, we all have our own challenges. And so just by opening up and be able to share your own, I think you'll be able to really connect with other people, and you'll find that you can help each other out when you ask and you can open up.
Chris, that's great advice. And you and I both know that sometimes you ask the right people, and there's always going to be that one bad seed. There's going to be that one experience that makes you go, I'm never going to do that again. But, you can't stay in that place. You have to just know that as many good people are out there, there's going to be sometimes a no. How did you ever handle the no's?
Just stubbornness and self-resiliency. Something in the hospital when someone told me I couldn't do something, it just made me more motivated to prove them wrong. And I just focused on what I could control. I can control my attitude and my effort, and I can do everything I can with those two pieces of my life. And so no matter what people tell me or what people are going to be telling you, you can overcome it and just focus on what you control. There's always going to be those bad seeds. There's always going to be people bringing you down. But if you don't focus on those negatives and just focus on what you can control and the positive things in your life, you'll keep going and you'll keep getting better.
And I love that. Great last words of advice. So, Chris, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. I mean, honestly, your story it's amazing because, again, I value that you took us on this journey, and we're only wishing great things for you. And keep us posted on your progress, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Nancy, for having me.
Thank you, Chris. And that was Chris Norton. Thank you very much, Chris. And we're going to be coming right back in the next segment, taking your calls. Again, this is the Living Full Out Show. We're talking about asking for help. So if you have a challenge or question on your mind, give us a call in the next segment, 800-333-0001. We'll be right back.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
You remember that ball game we went to a couple years ago?
Sure.
And how you didn't have enough cash for 2 hot dogs, so you walked with me on your shoulders until we found an ATM? And then when we got back to our seats, we never saw the hot dog guy again.
Well, I don't remember all that.
Yeah, that was an awesome game.
You never know which moments will be the ones they'll remember forever. So take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Medical mistakes claim tens of thousands of lives every year. The healthcare community is working on it, but you can help. When you communicate with your doctor, when you ask more questions, you reduce your risk of suffering a medical mistake. Doctors can't answer if you don't ask. Help reduce your risk. Questions are the answer. Learn the 10 questions you must ask. Visit www.ahrq.gov. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, and the Ad Council.
I'm getting a catcher's mitt.
I'm getting ice skates. I'm getting a devastating flood.
Adults are generous. We're even giving kids global warming, but we can still reduce greenhouse gas pollution. Go to fightglobalwarming.com. Brought to you by Environmental Defense, the Robertson Foundation, and the Ad Council.
There are many sounds in your daily life. Ones that make you smile. Ones that help you relax. And there are some sounds that can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you critical information about emergencies in your area. With updates from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know wherever you are. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The odds of this Alaskan-born pitcher being selected to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game 6 times? 1 in 48 million. The odds of this fast-balling philanthropist winning the World Series 3 times? 1 in 3 million. The odds of this man having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. Hi, I'm Kurt Schilling. Learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Asking for help is a large part of being able to step forward in living your life full out. Don't feel like you're a burden. Don't feel like you're holding someone else back or taking this to you. A lot of times when we give to others, that's living on purpose. That is living full out. So step out there today, ask for help if you need it. Don't hold back. Let that person help you. And at the same time, give the gift of giving someone else something they need.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Okay, here we are, final segment of the show. Amazing. We're talking about asking for help today, and this is the Living Full Out show. And the thing is asking for help, it can be uncomfortable. It's just like what Chris was saying, Chris Norton, our guest in our last couple segments. He was talking about that burdened feeling, when he couldn't feed himself, when he couldn't scratch his own face, and just needing to ask someone else to do that. And I even know in my own life, it's like there's times I can't see something, and I'm like, oh God, I know the other person's so busy, but I'm going to ask anyway, because if I don't, I'm going to kick myself that I didn't ask, because, that I'm not doing things I need to do. And so the thing is, it can spiral in our heads, this festering, this burden feeling. So if you're feeling that way, remember the power of your mind. Remember the power of the words you say to yourself in your head. So if you think it's a burden time, if you think that you're holding something back, asking too much, is that true? Is that a real fact? Or could that just be the chatter in your head telling you that? A lot of times it is just the chatter. So when you feel that moment where you're like, you got that feeling that you just wish you didn't have to do that, try to stop yourself and say, you know what? It's okay. Nancy said it's okay. Chris Norton said it's okay. I'm just going to ask for help. What's the big deal? In life, sometimes we just get so sensitive, so serious with things that we're doing. And a lot of times life is supposed to be playful. It's supposed to be a shared time together. No one gets to the top of that mountain and wants to turn around and there's no one there to share it with, right? You want to get to the top of the mountain and celebrate with people in our successes. It's the same thing about when we're down in the trenches, when we've fallen and we have to get back up again. Sometimes we can't get up ourselves. Sometimes we have to reach out our hand and someone else has to help pick us up, pull us up, and that's okay. The main thing is that in life, you get up. Whatever you do, you got to get up. You got to start walking, stepping forward, and living that life full out. We're going to go now to the other lines. We're going to have a caller calling in. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hi there.
Hi, thank you for calling in. What's going on today?
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, so I have a question. I sometimes have a problem saying no to people in general. Sometimes I offer to do things that are good for the other person, but not so much good for me. How do I go about being more assertive without feeling like I'm upsetting the other person?
So let me get this straight. So you want to say no more. Do you feel overwhelmed by saying yes too often? Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's kind of look at the feeling that you're getting here. When you do things for other people, what feeling does that give you?
I like helping people, and I like seeing that their needs are met. So that's a good feeling, I guess.
That's a good feeling. Okay. Now, how does it feel to have your needs met?
It feels good as well. Kind of relieving, I would say.
Okay. Do you feel like your needs get met often enough?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not.
Okay. And why do your needs not get met? Is it truly because you're too busy helping other people that your needs are not met? Or is it that some of the things that you need to get done, there's not enough time, or you can't do them by yourself?
Maybe I don't make it a priority. My needs a priority, I guess.
Okay. So, and that's something that you want to look at, okay? Because remember that in life, you have to be your best advocate. You have to be your best friend. You're the star in your life. You're the star in your own movie. Everybody else is supporting characters, okay? And I say that to you not because they aren't important, but because we can't control other people. We don't know when people are going to be in our lives and when they're not going to be in our lives. but you're going to be with yourself forever. And so what you want to make sure is you find this balance between being there for other people, but also making sure that you're living your life full out. And so what I encourage you to do is put yourself first, just at least for the next 2 days. What is something that you have been putting off because you maybe even helping other people or just too busy? What is something that you can do in the next 2 days that would make you feel like, I did it?
Well, I did just get a book, and I haven't had any time to read it, so maybe just starting that book.
Okay. Now, are there any demands over the next couple of days that you've committed to that perhaps you know is not the best use of your time?
It feels like they're all needed.
Okay.
I mean, there's things that can be pushed back, like maybe house, like cleaning up or housework or things like that.
Okay. And it isn't to say that the reading the book is more important than the house cleaning. And it isn't to say that if someone calls you up tomorrow and says, hey, you want to go to dinner, that you should say, no, I got to stay home and read a book. But the thing is at some point, you have to start building in your own personal time, the time for you to grow and learn. Because if you're constantly saying yes to helping people, or yes to dinners, or yes to this, or yes to that, it takes away time from you being able to focus on your own, whatever, meditation, book reading, just fitness, whatever that may be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, don't lose sight of the fact that you love to help people, because that's a special quality that you have. It's like a natural gift that you have. So don't lose sight of that. Always be that person, because not only do you want to build in that personal time for yourself, but in the game of life, you also want to think about, how do I want to be remembered? And I promise you, I think you'll be remembered as the person who helps people. Sounds like that's what you do, right? So you just want that balance. But I'd really love to see you this weekend. Dedicate yourself to reading some of that books if you can. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, thank you so much for calling in, though. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck with the book.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye. So, her question was actually, multiple layered, actually, because it started out as, how do I say no? But sometimes saying no is not just, I got to tell people no. It's our need for our own time, our own space. And we have to respect that. We have to acknowledge what we need. And sometimes what we need, we can handle ourselves. For her, it's taking time to read that book that she got. For others, it might be getting a massage. Or maybe it's just taking time to get house cleaning done. Whatever that looks like, remember to always take time for yourself. So over the course of today's show, we have had so many great questions from callers. How do you debate people without making it so serious and so crazy? How do you ask someone, will you go on a date with me? I'm interested in you. How do I say no to people? These are all valuable questions, ones that we all share, right? This is a shared experience in life. But remember that as we close up today's show and we're talking about asking for help, it's important to know that just as those callers called in asking their question, when you have a question, when you have a need, you have to be willing to step out there and ask. They asked, and you need to ask. So I challenge everybody today to think about some part of their life where if they just had a little extra assistance, maybe it's something that you're trying to troubleshoot that you don't know how to do. Maybe it's you want to buy something, but you have a friend who's a better shopper than you or can get discounts, or maybe it's a challenge or a problem that you're trying to debate. Whatever it is, I want you to release yourself from that pain, from that stress, from that worry, and ask somebody today their advice. Ask somebody today to help you get from being stuck, concerned, anxious, to relieved, productive, and happy. That's what it's all about. For me, I know I talk about being legally blind on various shows, but one of the things that I've learned is that when I don't ask for help, I usually get myself in trouble. I remember one year, several years ago, I went on this date with a guy, and he took me on a gondola ride. That's where the man rows and he sings, and it's very romantic. It was a great date. But we got to this ramp, and it was pitch dark. And I didn't want to tell him that I couldn't see. And I really couldn't see in the dark, by the way. It was pitch dark. I saw nothing. Talk about night blindness. But I didn't tell him I couldn't see. I just decided I would follow the moon shining on his hair. And I thought, I got this. As long as I follow his head and his hair, I'll be fine. I'll get to the boat. Well, at some point, he took a right turn. And I kept walking straight. And I walked right off the dock into the water. And the reason I share that with you is because, yes, it was a chilly experience. And it was embarrassing at the same time, but I let my ego get in the way. I didn't ask for help. I didn't say, you know what, I don't see well at night, or you know what, didn't know if you know this about me, but I'm legally blind. Can I hold your hand as we walk down to the boat? I didn't do that. I decided to let my ego get in the way and follow him. And what if I hadn't walked off into the water? What if I had walked off onto like a cement platform? What if I had walked off and like hit a motor and got injured? Who knows? The thing is we have to take responsibility in life to sometimes ask for help and know when it's appropriate. So again, I am challenging all of you today to think about where in your life you need that assistance. Don't be embarrassed. Know that you're not a burden. Quiet the chatter in your brain, in your head, and just ask. That's the first step. I want to thank everybody listening to the show today and everybody here in the studio with me. I got Mindy and Stephanie and Maya and Rich, and we're all here to help you each week to get inspired. So we'll be back next week with another great show, and here's to you living your life full out.